I'll be
Okay.
narrating an episode from one of the stories that I've written for my upcoming book. It's just an excerpt from the story, but it revolves around the stray animals that we see in our societies, and obviously the way the humans treat them. So let me take you to that world, that small world of strays. So, this story, titled Moti, is about a stray dog named Moti and the protagonist of the story, Mr. Chandra, who is an animal lover and who nurtures deep compassion for them. Chandra and his wife Nilima have recently shifted to a new colony in Delhi as part of Chandra's traveling job with one of the national banks of the country. His love for the strays, who usually are an unwelcomed residents of any colony, invite abhorrence from the colony residents, including the RWA chairman and members. And he's made an executive member of the association on purpose to put him to test, to shame him, and to shake his belief of many years that existence of stray animals is as necessary as that of humans. This narrative is an excerpt from the story that brings out the barbarism which humans have wrought on animals time and again. One day, on a wintry afternoon, Nilima called me on my office landline phone. She informed me that there had been some kind of trouble in the colony, and people had all assembled in the colony park. She also suspected that it was related to one of the dogs. I reached home that evening to find a simple note scribbled on a plain paper, which directed all executive members to meet at the clubhouse the next morning. The scribble note did look odd to me, but what bothered me the most was Moti's absence. He was nowhere to be seen. This was the first time that Moti hadn't escorted me home in the evening. A part of me still waited at the colony gate for him. Nilima gave me an account of everything that had happened. There was an accident. Moti had chased a delivery boy riding a motorbike. The attack was so sudden that the rider lost his balance and hit his head on the pavement. The helmet saved him from any major injury, but he sustained scratches from the fall. His motorbike would need good servicing. Nilima also added that the delivery boy had resolved to come back and kill Moti with poison. This little piece of information made me panic. I was distraught. I had a cup of tea, as Nilima insisted, and set out in search of Moti. The other four dogs were waiting in our little garden for their evening meal. They looked up at me, but I walked past in haste. As I sprinted to the colony's back gate, from where the delivery boy had entered on his motorbike earlier in the day, I saw our next door neighbors, a simple living couple from a small village in Rajasthan, coming from the other side. We had never spoken much, as the couple wished to live a quiet life. They would mostly keep to themselves. But to my surprise today, the gentleman waved at me. He gestured for me to stop as he crossed the lane and walked towards me with his wife in tow. I greeted them briefly and made no pretense that I had time to talk right now. I was worried sick. Good that we met, Mr. Chandra. I was anyway coming to speak to you, the gentleman said. What is it regarding? I asked, immediately regretting the unintended slight that the discourteous question would have done. My apologies, I said. I'm running a little late for somewhere urgent. It's all right, Mr. Chandra. This is about Moti, and I presume that you are on your way in search of him. Did you see him anywhere? My voice trembled with nervous anticipation. Yes, we saw him sitting under the big banyan tree outside the colony's temple. He has been there since late afternoon. The gentleman looked grave. I had many questions to ask, but I just thanked the couple profusely and was about to turn on my heels when the gentleman added, There's some more information I think you would be interested in. It is about the incident which took place this afternoon. I looked into the gentleman's earnest eyes. I witnessed the incident, he said, and I can't be more ashamed of confessing the ferocity we humans are capable of, whether it is against fellow humans or a speechless animal. I knew how true this was, and the bitter revelation that followed only filled me with more trepidation and disbelief. However, I wasn't sure why it would always be hard for me to believe the various instances of barbarism humans have wrought against animals time and again. It turned out that apparently Moti was sitting in the middle of the road, like all stray dogs always do. It was no big deal. Rather, it's a pity that they do not even understand that a vehicle might hurt them or simply run over them. And this does happen quite frequently than we can imagine. The delivery boy blared his horns for Moti to move off the road. However, Moti didn't budge. Probably, Moti had enough driving sense to gauge that a motorbike would have easily passed without the need for him to move. Darn, it wasn't a big vehicle after all. This infuriated the delivery boy, who drove up to Moti and kicked him hard on his stomach. Moti groaned in agony. However, Moti wasn't a dog who would cower down in fear too easily. I had never seen him skittish. The delivery boy reveled in egotist pride. Little did he know that it was only short lived. Moti blenched momentarily and was up on his paws. He triumphantly chased his abuser until the other side of the colony, where the boy lost his balance and fell, hitting his head on the pavement, a blow that would have proved fatal but for the helmet. Surmising that the boy had got his just desserts, Moti attacked him no further and left the scene quietly as people started to gather around. It is also gruesome, no? The gentleman said. Moti was not at fault. We would have reacted the very same way had we been kicked. The gentleman was clearly filled with pity for Moti. Since then, Moti has been in and around the temple premises, he added. I thanked him and brisked my way to the temple. And yes, there he was, crouched under the sacred banyan tree. He lay curled up in a ball. I knew that he was in pain. As I neared him, he cooed like an infant and came into my arms. We walked back home in silence. Both knew the pain the other was undergoing. Thank you.
I think we should unmute ourselves and then clap, everyone. Amazing, amazing story, Anu.
Thank you.
Is it your personal experience, if I may ask?
Yes, partly, yes. This happened in our colony.
Okay. Amazing. I mean, you've written it so well and you've narrated it so beautifully.
Thank you.
I mean, we could feel the topic also that you have selected is amazing. And we could really, it was heart touching, you can say.
Thank you.
So nice. Subhashini?
Yes, Anu, amazing, amazing. And you know what is more beautiful about it? Because it's such a everyday thing, right?
Yeah,
And we sort of have grown apathy about it, right? Because it's so no, we've normalized this.
yeah,
Okay, if someone has kicked it and all of that, but the way that you've narrated and all of that, and you bring forward the point that how harsh these things that we normalize are actually.
yeah,
Right? So the pain behind it and the cycle also, and we ignore it even with us, right? Sometimes when someone we don't know what stray
yeah,
animal has been aggravated by what action of other people around, and we would be like, यार, it was barking, कितना वो हो गए हैं stray animals आजकल कितने violent आ गए हैं, and the conversationally also we also become like that
yeah,
society में कि RW को complain कर दो, they're not acting properly, इतने सारे वो आए जा रहे हैं colony में घूमे जा रहे हैं, without realizing how we've also been,
yeah,
perpetuators in sort of like, keeping that side of things. Had we been taking care of them in the same capacity that we take care of like our own pets, then it would not be like, we would not have these incidents also within our societies, like, stray
yeah.
dogs barking or whatever.
Agree. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anu. I hope I
Thank
could
you.
guide it so well. I
Thank you.
hope to be. Now,
Uh, no,
what more?
we'll take one or two more comments. I'll request Jyotsna.
Yeah.
Hi, Anu.
Hi.
Yeah, so to be very honest, even before I dive into the excerpt that you read, the way you narrated had me all ears. Like, I didn't want you to stop because honestly, if you have an audiobook, I would go on and on just listening to
Thank
it.
you.
You
Thank
have a
you.
very good flair of narrating a story. And yes, like Subhashini mentioned, I think these are things that we've actually normalized, and it's very common to see these days. And it also reminded me of a movie, Charlie 777 or 777 Charlie. I don't know if you have watched it. I think, to be very honest, I am not a crazy animal lover, but after watching that movie, I was moved. And to be very honest, I think after listening to you, uh, I had the same feeling. So it was a very moving excerpt. So if please let me know when the book comes out because I really
Yes,
want to read the rest
surely.
of the
Thank
story.
you. Thanks.
We are all eagerly waiting for
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Rajat?
Yes, so Manu ma'am, the content was very much engaging, and I would appreciate the efforts you've put in for this topic. Really nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anu.
Thank you.
Uh, welcome, Dr. Rekha.
Sir, can I say something on
Please,
Anu's
actually,
story?
आप चली गई थी ना, इसलिए मैं आपसे सोचा कि maybe you have not heard
ओके
it.
नहीं नहीं सर, मैंने पूरा
Please,
सुना है. आई हैव
please
हर्ड.
go ahead. मैं तो देख ही रहा था. Please go ahead.
मैम, whenever your book is coming, right? गणेश जी कुछ उठाने से पहले आप मुझे दीजिएगा. आई एम eagerly waiting for it.
Surely, first copy will be yours.
मतलब इट इज टोटली एंगेजिंग. आपने जिस तरह से स्टोरी को एक ओवरऑल एक किस्सा कह सकते हैं जो डेली लाइफ में होता है, उसको इतने अच्छे से, योर वोकैब इज, हर चीज आपका, मतलब मेरे पास शब्द नहीं मिल रहे मुझे कहने के लिए. आपकी हर चीज बहुत अच्छी थी.
Thank
बहुत ही
you.
अच्छा लगा
Thank you so
मुझे.
much.